Hi, I'm Sophia Baker. This is my Global Learning Project Video 2, Interaction Number 1. I met with Lee, a foreign exchange student or an international student here at MSU from China. Lee and I shared photos from each other's high school experiences, and the first thing I noticed was our classroom decorations were very different. Her classrooms had very minimal decoration, while mine had a lot more, where teachers put in a lot more colors and motivational posters. And her desks in her classroom were more of a single file individual work setup, while a lot of my classrooms had tables and group desks for cooperative learning. There also were uniforms in her school photos because her school required uniforms, while mine did not. I went to public school and could wear whatever I wanted. And I noticed that American schools are a lot smaller because sometimes we don't live at our schools most of the time, where they do. And my school's only one story, where hers is multiple. Our day-to-day life with school days were similar and different. We both started at the same time, but her classes were much shorter, where mine were a little bit longer. But her day went longer and further into the night. My day stopped around 3 o'clock, while hers continued on even after school was done. Sometimes she did more work than I did, but she had a longer lunch break than I did. My weekends and vacation breaks were also a lot longer than hers were. Overall, she spent way more time in school than I did. What we were worried about in high school is also very different. I was worried about finding out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I wasn't that worried about getting into college or keeping up my grades. But Lee was worried about this giant exam that all Chinese students have to take. I believe it's pronounced the GACO, and it basically determines what college you get into and if you get into college, and it's highly competitive. Some of our favorite parts of high school are also very similar. Mine were days that our teachers built like team challenges and team games that I got to interact with my peers and classmates. These were her lunch periods, where she got to talk to her friends and hang out more. Both of us enjoyed times when we got to socialize with our friends and peers. Though mine were more frequent and often built into my classroom schedule, hers were part of her break time. As for big tests we had to prepare for, I had to prepare for the ACT, and I took one course throughout my junior year to prepare for it, and then I took the test. Lee had the big test I mentioned earlier. I think it's pronounced the GACO, and she prepared for it throughout her entire educational career because it decides so much about your future in China. Because of the way I was raised here in America, and because of my personality, I prefer and work best in group and team-based environments where we all help each other learn. Therefore, I believe I would not have done well in China, and I'm grateful I wasn't raised in China, because I believe I would have failed and not have been driven by the competitive environment that is held and sustained in China. I also feel empathetic for Lee because of this very competitive and stressful environment in which she was raised in. It didn't afford her a lot of opportunities to try activities and clubs and other fun activities that we would do here in America. From the differences in our educational experience, I was able to discern values in both of our cultures and education that differ. American culture is a lot more based on learning and self-growth and being kids, and that's shown throughout our education, while Chinese culture is more based on competition, which is largely driven by their overpopulation issues and the need to fill jobs. American learning is also based on different types of learning and catering to kids' different types of learning, whether it be hands-on learners or visual learners. China's method of learning is very much based on just memorization alone, which I am not good at, and I'm glad I did not have to do. And that is what happened and what I learned from my Global Learning Project video number 2, interaction number 1.